G'day folks, Duckville here. I've got a Protoss vs Zerg. It is going to be on Star Station TE today. We will see two really high quality players up at the top left hand side as our Red Zerg player here for Team Clarity Gaming. It is Reborn. We'll see what he gets up to here. Throws out the GG-Yo for his opponent, who down at the bottom right-hand side, you'll probably know his name a little more than Reborn, but not to worry. Down here at the bottom right-hand side, I believe this is the legit Creator Prime, ladies and gentlemen. Maker of the old Creator Prime build, or the Creator build, whatever one you want to call it. Of course, has been a part of the Prime team for his entire career in SC2, if memory serves me right. Has won a couple of big tournaments, of course won the Team Liquid Star League number 4, and also did the WCG South Korea qualifiers in 2013, I believe. Took out Squirtle in that, in what was an interesting PvP, if I remember correctly. So he is certainly one with a lot of recognition for quite a while now. Now Reborn, of course, we can see now a very, I really like the way he's a really reactive Zerg player, and we'll see how he goes here up against someone who is obviously a high quality Korean player, and it'll be interesting to see how he has to deal with his opponent. I'm assuming we're going to get a spawning pool in a second. There it is, as he wants to stay safe against that old pesky pylon block down at the natural. And Creator's just going to poke about, and you know, it looks as if we're going to get a Nexus first from him. Just wanting to get his economy into a really nice position. Throws down that extra chrono so that he can get his probes out in good time. We can see that, well, the probe's actually going to throw down the forge first. I'm a little bit surprised about that, but it looks as if he wants to perhaps do a little bit of, you know, perhaps even some more extensive harassment down here at the natural. Maybe if you sort of, some players do this thing where they'll get the forge, and then they'll not block off the natural and be like, oh no, you blocked me off. And then what they actually do is then set up the cannon rush down at the back, and it can sometimes catch people off guard. But it looks as if Reborn should be okay here. He's got his, well, obviously with the spawning pool done, he'll be able to get the first few lings out and continuing to block off here. Create a Prime, wonderful stuff. There are a couple of Protoss players who, if you really want to see some high quality hatchery blocking, I would always suggest jumping on Puck's stream. Puck does an amazing job of blocking off hatcheries as long as possible. It's really impressive to watch. Back at home for Creator, we've got that Nexus going up. We can see the gateway. We've got a cannon as well, just to make sure everything's nice and safe. And the two gases will be going up. So, of course, we're at the stage where there's no real signs of what our Protoss player will be going for. We can, of course, see that Reborn is just going up to a normal kind of play here. Hatch, 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 and we're going to get a lot of drones coming out for him. While we're waiting, just of course, please do make sure you have subscribed to the channel here, and also subscribe on to my Twitch as well. We do some regular streaming over there on twitch.tv/duckvilleall, where I do some natural selection too, which is a whole bunch of fun. If you've never seen it, I would really suggest jumping on a Tuesday night and watching. It's a really fun FPS RTS game, and I know that sounds really weird, but come and have a look. It's really, really cool to play. We also have some SC2 streaming. We've got Dota 2 as well, featuring one of my friends who's a massive rager, and it's quite funny to listen to him. And of course, I do a lot of live casting as well, so for all sorts of tournaments. But back in our game here, we can see the cybernetic score going up. Almost done here for Creator. We'll see what he wants to go for after that. That's the time where you get to see what the Protoss is made of and what they want to be going for in this particular game. So it's we're just waiting on that tech to start coming through. We've got Reborn now up to a total of 26 drones. He'll be cranking that up just a little bit further right now with 3 more on the way. We can probably expect him to go up to, you know, normally you head up to around about sort of 45, and then you start making the decision. All right, what am I going to do from here? I need to scan out what is going on. And we'll probably see at that point this Overlord here. This guy is going to want to jump in the main base here and try and find out what tech is going on. Usually a path, something like this, so that you can see what is happening. We've got a Stargate in here for Creator, so he wants to go for just a normal sort of opening, as you will always see in PvZ. Get maybe 1, 2, 3, possibly even up to 4 or 5 Phoenix out, and then head across the map and do some harassment, or possibly we'll just see straight Void Rays. Some people just like to get out a couple of Void Rays for some early defense. In fact, that is exactly what Creator's going to do. He's going to head out here with his first Void Ray. not sure what Reborn's doing. He hasn't actually scouted out any of this just yet, but he does have a little bit of a micro battle going on in the middle of the map. There is a Stalker and a Zealot just roaming about trying to clear out some of these Lings that are on this map at the moment, but Reborn going to throw down a couple of Spore Crawlers around the place just to make sure that he is safe, or at least one. Is he not going to get another one? I'm not sure. There we go. He gets a lair as well, so we know he wants to head up towards the lair tech and make sure that he has all the nice options available to him that comes with having the lair up and running. Still more Void Rays coming out for creators, so he's not going to switch it over to Phoenix or anything like that at a weird point. Mothership Core only just now coming out, which is rather interesting to see. Of course, that Stargate was relatively swift in going down, but this means that the Mothership Core will not have any energy for quite a while, and that means that you know, facilitating the defense of this Nexus here will be a little bit harder if his opponent decides to mass up some Lings and just head straight out there with huge batches of these little pesky buggers on the ground. But I would assume that Reborn's not going to go in that direction. He's going to see that there is a Void Ray out here. He's going to have to react appropriately for that. And Creator Prime, really interesting stuff here. He's picking up +1 on his air weapons. And also, wow, also shields as well. This is a really intriguing play coming out from the Korean Protoss. Now, this is pretty indicative that we are going to get a very hefty airplay coming out of Creator here today. The reason we say that is because you rarely ever upgrade shields unless you're going to be going into some hardcore air stuff. So we're going to be expecting another Stargate to go down very soon so that he can crank out the extra production. And in fact, there was that. Oh, there it is. It's another 2 Stargates. He's definitely going down the hardcore Void Ray path, or at least it might be Void Ray and maybe a few Phoenix thrown in for good measure, or perhaps some Oracles as well. Keep in mind, there is a very, very tough build for Zerg to deal with, like the mass Oracle build. It can even deal with Hydras once you get the Oracles into a good number. And speaking of Hydras, Reborn is going up to a Ling Hydra based composition here, +1 to missile weapons all the way. We've also got the Hydra Dan just cranking out that Muscular Augments upgrade. Reborn looking for a little bit of a hole in the defense here, but so far nothing that he is really going to get a hold of, as the one thing he will scout out coming from this attack is that there are a bunch of Void Rays already out. There are already 4 of them, and he's going to have to make the appropriate adjustment to deal with that, because as we said, you know, Void Rays, once they get a couple of upgrades rolling, they do quite well against all sorts of unit compositions, even Hydras, unless you have a good mixture of them. Maybe if you have the backup of some fungal growths from some infestors as well. But Creator is looking to, yeah, just continually crank out these Void Rays. The +1 to weapons is done. Armor is on the way for the air units as well. Shields is just about finished off. And keep in mind, the good thing about shields is that if your Void Rays take a little bit of damage and then you back them out and get them to regen their shields, they will stick around a lot longer. And of course, with an upgrade on shields, it means it's even more effective in the defense. So Reborn is going to get his creep spread starting to push out. It's a little bit, I guess, later than you would normally expect for creep spread to start moving out here, but he is going to get it all rolling. He does have an infestation pit just finishing up now, and we'll see him probably grab the pathogen glands. Interesting to see the Bailey nest as well. I'm not exactly sure what that's going to be for, but it's kind of weird to see that. But the Hydras will roam forwards. Keep in mind, a time warp and a couple of force fields could segment some of these Hydras if Reborn is not careful. But the Hydras move along, taking down the front door bouncer there. The Zealot goes down, but there are now 9 Void Rays up in the air. Not exactly an overwhelming force against this many Hydras, but he can certainly compete with it all. So Reborn's going to be very careful with how he pushes forwards here, especially with these upgrades on these Void Rays. They are a little bit more annoying to deal with here. So Planetary Nexus of Doom goes down for Creator hit there, and he forces his opponent to back up for now. I like how Reborn is constantly splitting up his forces. He's never having them in a big clump, or I suppose now he has, but the Void Rays go to town. Weirdly, activating the Prismatic Alignment does not affect any of these units here. None of these guys are armored. It tickles me a little bit sometimes when I see people activating that on non-armored units, and I'm like, okay, alright, doesn't actually do anything, but yep, that's all good. It looks cooler. I guess that's cool, is that the chandeliers look a little bit cooler when they're firing out the bigger laser beam there. But the mass void ray play coming out from Creator Prime is going to be relying on some powerful void rays with their upgrades, and then also I assume he'll be looking to micros to the best of his ability, as I'm sure many people will be aware of can happen and can really change the look of a fight. Like if everyone remembers Naniwa over at IEM New York, I want to say, where he had some amazing engagements with some Zerg players, even against Hydras. So Reborn's going to be careful about this kind of thing. I do like that he has started to add in a whole bunch of queens. He's up to 10 queens right now, which means that he is going to be able to spread that creep a lot faster and catch up to where he probably should be at this point. But also it means he's got some extra anti-air with these queens. They do 10 damage per shot, which is pretty damn good. He's also got an Ultralisk Cavern on the way. We'll see how we deal with that. It's going to be interesting to see if he does get Ultras out, dealing with a Void Ray Force. Last time I checked, there was no upgrade to make Ultras jump. Remember the charge upgrade that Ultras were going to have? That'd be... I wish they could have kept that in. It looked really cool. But Creator now looking to set up his 4th base down here at the 6 o'clock position on the map. We've still got more and more Void Rays continuing to come out, now preparing a little bit more of a more standardized kind of tech path here. Robo Bay completes for Creator, and he's going to have that available for some Colossi production very soon. But the one thing I'm wondering, where are the infestors? There they are. All right, cool. I was going to say, geez, we really need some infestors here to make sure that that Reborn is able to deal with these groups of units that are coming through. And in fact, here we go, looking for the big clumps of Void Rays is Reborn. He wants to get that money fungal off to try and capture as many of these Void Rays in the big group as he can. And Reborn continuing to, I really like the positioning he's setting up here. Comes across, he's got a couple of the units across to the side. Of course, the infestors, they are armored and they will go down quickly to all of the Void Rays, but the rest of the units here aren't armored at all, so there's no bonus damage there. But Creator Prime, with his 1/1/1 Void Rays, is going to start to push through a lot of these units here, and this is exactly what we were talking about, with some good micro. There you go, pushing them back, and is taking down a lot of the forces on the ground. He is able to remove a lot of what Reborn had here. However, the Remax is going to be a little bit worrying for our Protoss player, as 32 Hydras are on the way. Keep in mind, we already still have those 5 infestors, sorry, that we'll be able to get a couple of good fungals off. It's not the greatest fungal, but it does the job. Locks down a couple of the units. The Hydras now go into town on all of the Zealots on the ground. Colossus comes into the mix, and it looks as if, without having all of his Hydras properly clumped together, Reborn is going to have a hard time dealing with these, with the Void Rays, and of course the single Colossus that is there. But here we go, now surrounding, getting a relatively good concave on these units here, is going to target down some of the Void Rays here, gets rid of some of them. There are still more Hydras and Lings on the way, but Creator is still continually reinforcing here. We've got more units now on the way, some more Zealots, Void Rays all coming through, 3 Void Rays at a time. Keep in mind, Ultras are starting to come up. That is a really interesting choice here for our Zerg player, but it is going to give him a lot of power on the ground, and once those Void Rays are gone, then his opponent doesn't really have anything else on the ground. You know, you look at what Creator has. He's got, you know, a Colossus and a couple of sentries. Once those Ultralisks are out, they're going to absolutely smash through everything on the ground. You know, their only foe will be the Void Rays up in the air. So Creator is looking to try and just reset his army for now, get some more Void Rays out, get the Colossus going. Charge and +3 to weapons are all on the way. And as we can see, he's found the 5th base up at the 12 o'clock position here. This one Zealot should be able to cut up some of the Lings, but not all of them, as more reinforcements arrive. And Reborn is he is doing the same sort of thing, piecing his army back together. We've got 198 supply for him, has 101 drones. May need to dump a few of those. I don't really think we need 101, as it is taking up a lot of his extra supply here. So he's got Queens, Ultras, a few Hydras, and of course a few Lings on the ground, but then there are also a couple of these Infestors here. I'm just worried this is going to be really, I think this is going to be a really positional thing. If Reborn can get those Ultras into good position so that they can kill all of these units on the ground, then he should be okay with this battle, but it is really going to depend on taking advantage of the cliff here as well. But Creator still continuing to get a few more units out. High Templar on the way, some Void Rays coming in for some extra backup, and even an Immortal is on the way for our Protoss player here from Prime. And we've now got some of the units now pushing forwards. Reborn says it's time to do this. Photon Overcharge active for Creator. We've got lots of lasers all over the field. It reminds me of the old days of Wings of Liberty when you'd only see Void Rays and Colossus for the Protoss, but it looks as if finally a couple of good fungal growths go down there from Reborn, but he is going to lose a lot of these units here, and in fact losing most of his powerful punch of the army there, taking out a lot of the Ultras, even some of those Infestors there, and Reborn is back to the drawing board yet again. A lot of Queens are now coming out as well to try and help him with a reinforce. Got some Spire action about to happen here. If he can possibly get a large resupply of mutas out, then he could possibly do this, but it is starting to really turn the way of our Protoss player here as these Void Rays with their upgrades. The Colossus, of course, have +2, sorry, it was +2, not +3, on their own upgrades, and things are starting to look a little bit laser deathball-y right now as Creator cleans up his opponent's 4th base. Reborn does have the what I suppose is the new 4th up at the 12 o'clock position here. He's looking to pick up a 5th across to the side as well, but he's just going to have a hard time getting the composition to, getting the band back together to try and take on this mixture. Ultras are not going to do well against those Void Rays. The Colossus, of course, can deal with the Hydras and the light units on the ground, but coming in for what looks to be a decent flank here is Reborn. He is going to get a good lock on most of the units on the ground. A fungal on the big pack of Void Rays. Is it enough? It looks like the answer is no, but all of the units on the ground have been cleaned up. The Queens, however, going to have a very hard time against all of the Void Rays there. There are still a total of 8 Void Rays up in the sky. Reborn going to send all of his units across to just try and compete with whatever Creator has over on his side of the map, but Creator still, these Void Rays are going to do all sorts of work on this base. He's going to be taking this one out, no doubt about that. At this point, I think Reborn needs a pretty damn good fungal or a really good resupply of mutas, or he is actually going for Hydras right now. He is going to clean out this base though. It looks like he will be able to stop his opponent from mining over here. I really love the continual expansion from Reborn. Picking up this base across to the side means that he is not completely out of the game when he loses his 4th up at the 12 o'clock position. The Ultras finally clean up the Nexus down there at the 6 o'clock, and well, Reborn, he's done a really good job. I'm really impressed with the way he has kept his economy together, as we said, picking up this base. He's now even going for another one at the 3 o'clock position. Meanwhile, for Creator, he's mined out at his mate. He's almost mined out at the natural, and the 3rd is, of course, getting very low as well. The only real card that he has right now are these Void Rays, and they are going to have to be wonderfully microed if he's going to be able to take out all of the Hydras that are now starting to resupply more and more on the way. The Ultras and the Lings down on the ground, they don't know what to do, but the Void Ray count has been reduced to just the 8 as more are coming across the map, but they are not going to be able to help out. Mothership Core taken down. Hydra's chasing after the rest of the Void Rays here, and Reborn may in fact have this one in the bag right now because his opponent is just having a hard time resupplying, and there you go, GG. Really nice play from Reborn. The one thing I really want to just reiterate again is taking these extra bases and just saying, alright, if you're going to take this one here, I'm going to take another 2 bases and just make sure my economy isn't completely dead once you kill the base, because as every Zerg player will know, you're gonna have a hard time defending against the the Colossus Void Ray kind of mixture, and it's safer to say, let's sack this base and just pick up another 2 while we're going, and then I still have an economy, still able to produce units, and still able to take out the game. Really nicely done there by Reborn from Clarity Gaming, taking out Creator Prime. Hope you all enjoyed the match. I'll catch you all next time. Here. As you can see, 47 damage to Bio units, and then the 34 damage against other standard targets. His storms have also been wonderful, just spreading them out across the battlefield, doing really, really nicely there. And for Minigun, he's been sticking with a much more